So Amjad, we're very, very excited to have you as part of COMEX as one of our great speakers. You are a technology strategist, you are a digital transformation leader and a BI expert. Can you tell us more about yourself, please, Amjad?
Hello, my name is Amjad Ali and I'm working for Al Ansari Trading Enterprises. And I have been with this company for the last 4 months. And in UAE, I have been in 10 years and in Oman for 10 years. So over 2 decades, I have been here in Gulf, and where I have been mainly playing a role for the digital transformation and the business intelligence, mainly where the technology, how the technology can benefit the business. So in fact, business IT alignment was my core. And right now I'm mainly focusing in digital transformation in Al Ansari. And this is how we have been doing for many years. And I believe this is the way forward, especially with the technology which is available right now and the Industry 4.0 or fourth industrial revolution, which can definitely benefit many organizations. So right now, my major focus is the digital transformation, business intelligence, and of course, the analytics.
Great. That's a very rich experience that you have there, Amjad. Thank you for introducing us to yourself. So I have a few questions for you, Amjad. Many people today and for the last couple of years have been mentioning a very common phrase, which is that data is the new oil. I wanted to see with you, do you agree with that statement?
I somehow agree to this if it was like 5-6 years ago, but I will not agree to this statement right now that data is the new oil. In fact, the data is beyond the fossil oil. And I must agree to the statement by one of the top leaders in Gartner. He mentioned that CIO needs to think beyond the information and beyond the data as the new oil. And there are various economic characteristics that render it potentially much more valuable for the businesses than just a fossil fuel. So we have been thinking that fuel can generate anything, but in fact, data can generate much more than what fuel was doing. So that's the reason I will not say it's the new oil. It is beyond the oil, in fact, beyond the new oil.
Thank you for that insight. That's very, very interesting. Thank you, Amjad. I'd like to ask you, what is the difference between analytics and analysis? Because some people seem to be confused by these two terms. Can you explain that to us?
Yes, I agree to you that people have been confused with these two terms. They might be thinking that analysis and analytics is different, because traditionally we have been doing the analysis of the data, be it the transactional data that comes from the ERP systems or some external systems or line of business applications. So we were in fact doing the analysis based on the historical data to see the trends that how the business is going. But analytics is not about the analysis. In fact, analytics is much more than the data analysis, where we go into deeper to do the predictions about the future, about the, it is not about the business trends that how business has been doing than how we do the forecast. It is more than the analysis where we do various computational analysis mechanisms or machine learning techniques or AI techniques to get the analytics into the data. I must say that there is, of course, the point of intersection. There is a gray area also where people definitely confuse themselves. They say that analytics and analysis are the same terms, but it is in fact the predictions, to get the predictions from the data. Let me say that, like, for example, credit card fraud, which a bank can detect before it happens. So that is what the predictive analytics can do, or that is what the analytics can do. So it is not just the analysis of the data. It is analytics is a different term. Analytics is a broader term. It is much more advanced than the analysis. And there are various different tools. In analysis, we have been using the business intelligence tools, like whatever you name it, all the commercial applications. But analytics is, there are various other tools that do the analysis, especially through the big data.
Great. So both very useful methods, but perhaps with different objectives. Okay, thank you for that, Amjad. So the session that you will be speaking on at COMEX comes under the title of Advanced Analytics. you will be talking about big data specifically, and how big data can help businesses. So can you tell us more about big data and the topics you'll be covering in your session, and perhaps some of the use cases that you can explain to us?
In fact, I mentioned this on many platforms. In fact, in COMEX also passed in 2017, and since then I have been talking about it, that big data is the future, in fact. And right now, various technologies are built on big data. So we have been always talking about the data-driven apps and app-driven data. Earlier, the apps were generating the data, but right now, the apps are supporting the data. Means the backend or the source of the apps is in fact the data. That is where we call data-driven apps. So these data-driven apps are coming from the big data mainly, and big data is not just a traditional data. We always mention that, okay, we do the analysis based on, as I mentioned, that ERP is a transactional database which is structured. So we get the information from the structured data where businesses have been making the decision. But now the decision making has improved. When we talk about the businesses, they have not to rely only on the transactional data. They have to rely on various dimensions and various varieties of the data. In fact, big data is all about volume, velocity, and variety. So why we say big data, that volume of data is increasing every day, velocity at which the speed of the data with which the data is increasing, and variety, because it's not only the transactional data or structured data, it is semi-structured data, unstructured data. And this all data is making sense, in fact, and we cannot ignore that the data which is being generated by other systems other than the transactional processing system is also important. So that is where when we talk about advanced analytics, in fact, the analytics which I talked about just now, analytics is in fact the analysis of the data from the big data, from various other elements of or various other objects that are generating the data. And when we talk about analytics, in fact, analytics has also emerged, where pattern matching, forecasting, complex event processing, neural networks, and other aspects have emerged today. I will not mention these all technical terms right now, which I must explain in the event itself. But what I must say here, that big data is in fact a driving force for Industry 4.0. That is where people are thinking about having the technologies that can support the big data.
Thank you, Amjad. We're really looking forward to your session. And can you tell me who you would recommend to attend your session, and who would really benefit from listening to you?
In fact, there are various businesses that can benefit, be any sector, in fact, be it healthcare, manufacturing, retail, banking and finance, even government entities. I must say all can benefit from the session. The reason is because we have been talking about the buzzword big data, advanced analytics, Industry 4.0, and people are definitely talking about RPA, robotics, or machine learning, artificial intelligence, and the blockchain even. Though there are the companies who have already adopted it, but in order to get an idea that how it can really help, I must say, for example, if I talk about the big data or advanced analytics implementation or use cases in the manufacturing industry. In manufacturing industry, we have been always talking about how to improve the production and how to even make sure that production never stops. This happens, production stops if the machines are, having fault. So faulty machines stop doing the production. So that's the reason we can do through the big data and predictive analytics or the advanced analytics, we can do the predictive maintenance of machines. So traditionally, as I mentioned, that we have been capturing the structured data, where we capture the equipment model, equipment make, equipment year, equipment date of purchase, equipment vendor, and all these information have been captured. But what about the equipment temperature? What about for how many hours equipment has been working? What is what are the components of the equipment? There are various sensors. When we talk about the Industry 4.0, smart factories concept has emerged. where every machine is talking to every other machine, every sensor, every machine is in fact equipped with the sensors. So these all technologies together are generating a variety of data, velocity of data, and volume of data. And when we do the analytics of data, we can get to know the predictive maintenance of machines. As I mentioned, the credit card fraud of the bank, which can be predicted before it happens, because through the pattern recognition, it can be done. And even the retail industry can definitely get to know that at what time the demand of products is going to increase, and if they need to focus on having special offers during this season or not. It cannot come from the traditional data. It can come from the big data, in fact, where you can understand the user behavior as well. So many aspects are there which we can cover definitely wherever it will be possible. I will talk about the technologies that companies can leverage, because here in this part of region, I have seen that businesses mainly focus on the ERPs, or the systems that are supporting their transactional data. But they are not thinking about the big data. They are not thinking about the analytics. They are not thinking about the digital transformation, that the data that they should be capturing, they are not able to capture that because the technologies are not available. So I will give a bit of idea, will not go much into technical, but I will just, in this session, I will talk about some technologies which companies can adopt with less investment, or by using their own internal resources. Usually what happens that in this part of world, we lack in the IT outsourcing, but companies can take benefit from the existing IT resources and can definitely leverage these technologies, which can support them to get the big data or AI, ML, these kind of technologies. Instead of doing the investment in-house, they can leverage these technologies and implement with the team, with the help of the team internally.
Well, these are many cutting edge aspects which you've mentioned, which we're very happy to have discussed at this event and to have you there. And we're glad to have you back since 2017. I think there's been a lot of development since 2017 and now. So you'll be updating us on kind of what are the latest methods and technologies that organizations can use. So we're looking forward to having you, Amjad. Thank you so much.